What is going on in the insurance world at Bryan Insurance?
Well, a lot. We say that every week, don't we?
Well, it's always changing. There's, it's a very volatile marketplace. It's always fluctuating. So there's new products coming, new products going. But with all products, there are your staples, and one of them that we're going to be talking about today is called EPLI.
Yeah, it's something that I would say we want to talk about at least once a quarter because it's so important. And it stands for Employment Practices Liability Insurance is what it stands for.
Okay.
And so your general liability policy will exclude employment practices. Employment practices has to do with your relationship as an employer with your employees, and it's dealing with things like sexual harassment, wrongful termination, discrimination, and it starts with the interview and hiring process, your relationship with that employee the whole time they're your employee, and
all the way to termination.
Yeah.
So, and it's something that everybody, if you have one employee, you should really consider this. It's very important. And one thing we hear is, oh, well, that would never happen. Okay, but what if somebody says it happened?
Right. Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, just the sheer accusation will cause a triggering of the coverage. But a lot of times, we always think of our employees being the best. But they're human as well.
Right.
They make mistakes, emotions fly, things happen. And this policy is designed to cover those incidences when emotions fly high and people get fired, people say the wrong thing, things happen in the workplace. That's what this is for.
Is this new coverage, or is this
No.
something that's been around for a while?
It's been around for a while.
I think and I'm not telling anybody something that they don't know, but I mean there are very clear questions that you can and cannot ask at any point, especially in the hiring process. And if you don't have if your HR or whoever that is may not be aware of that, I mean it's as simple as just
what if you don't have HR?
Yeah, I mean just being in a conversation that a question's asked, maybe it's marital status or whatever that is, as a very very welcoming question, and they take that the wrong way, and now you're looking at some serious repercussions.
That is so true. Like you said, maybe it's just breaking the ice. That has nothing to do with the employee process, but you ask the question and then it's out there.
Exactly.
And again, I can't stress that the accusation is where it starts. And if you have an accusation in any of these areas, you're going to need defense. And that's, like I said, even if you didn't do it or your supervisors didn't do anything wrong, and it's proven they didn't do anything wrong, but you've got to prove that, and it's expensive. You have to hire a lawyer.
Right.
You have to go through discovery and all of that. So this policy is designed to defend, which is really one of the most important parts, and then pay on your behalf if you're found legally liable.
That's right.
So.
Yeah.
And that defense can run up really quickly.
Yeah, I believe that.
And I have an example, and they're not here in Graham, so don't try to guess who it was. And this is probably about 5 or 6 years ago. We had a client, we had talked about the coverage, and they were like, yeah, I know, we don't need that. Gotten them a quote, they don't need it. And what happened, it was not even anything that happened in their office. It happened out on a job site, and a supervisor used wrong colorful word that was discriminatory towards an employee. And guess what? Y'all can't see me, I'm on the radio. Guess what? Everybody has right now. They can record it. It was happening every day.
Yep.
They recorded it, and bam.
Yeah.
It was an EPLI.
Yeah. and they didn't have the coverage.
Oh no.
And so and again, like I said, I don't think anybody would none of us think that this would happen to us. And even if we know our employees, and we really do, we have a really tight-knit bunch at Bryan Insurance. But again, it's just accusation can take you down that road. And you can't always control what your employees are doing or saying or whatever.
Right. Yeah. And then practical jokes can get out of hand, employers can, say the wrong thing, it happens. But that's why you need to know, do you have this coverage? Call your agent, ask. Sometimes general liabilities throw it on as a kind of a toss-on, but those toss-ons are like, oh yeah, here, we gave you $5,000.
Yeah.
We gave you something.
Which is
good
not
luck.
Really make a big difference.
Make your phone call.
Yeah.
But if you have employees, this is something that you need to look into. You need to make sure that your limits are accurate. and it's significant for our environment today.
Mhm.
Because with our political environment and the way everything goes, anything can be misconstrued, especially with social media, cell phones everywhere, recording devices. It's so much easier today to have one of these.
And you're probably thinking, well, that must be really expensive. Not necessarily. It's based on, of course, how many employees you have,
Right.
what the nature of your business is. But yeah, the add-ons, they're better than nothing.
Yeah.
But another thing, and not every carrier, but most of the carriers that specialize in this will also give you advice if you have a situation, because they don't want you to have a claim either.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
And so, we call it risk management, but they, if there's a situation, we can get them in touch with their EPLI, Employee Practice Liability Carrier, who can either give them the advice or hook them up with somebody who can, and so that's a benefit too.
Right.
Okay.
And that's especially helpful when you don't have HR.
Yeah.
When you
Yeah.
you have one or two employees, you don't have. I mean, there's a lot of HR programs out there. There's external ones. Well, there's several. We use one.
Yeah.
But there are other options for HR there as well. But the EPLI is the insurance coverage for this specific
Yeah.
risk.
So Brad, I think that we should talk about on another week what you just teased.
Oh, yeah.
That you can actually outsource your HR,
Perfect. Yeah.
Mhm.
and
It's so easy.
it's great. So we'll talk about that in the future.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So that's something that people should consider.
Well, awesome. Yeah. So even if you're employing 1 or 100, this is something to really consider, just because of like you said, Brad, the political climate that we're in today. Some things can be misconstrued. Some things can just be absolutely falsely accused, and it's up to you to really kind of prove your innocence, if you will, and make sure that you're covered if something does happen. So, if folks want to get a hold of you to discuss this, how do they reach you, Brad?
Well, they can come see me at the second floor, or come see any of us. There's quite a few of us up
Yep.
there. They can call us at 940-782.
Well,
549-2525.
in Hudson Oaks, we're at 2950 Fort Worth Highway, Suite 500, 817-770-0096.
Okay.
If anybody would like my cell phone number, it's on the website.
You've given it
Yeah.
out multiple times.
Yeah, mine and Brad's cell phone numbers are on the website, so
Right,
that is.
yeah.
Why do I have to give that away? It's brianins.com. That's Brian with a Y.
Okay. Awesome. Well, thank y'all. Great to see you.
Thank
Enjoy
you.
the rest of your Wednesday.
Y'all too. Thank
See
you.
you. We'll be right back. Stay tuned. Plenty more on the way.
Yeah, we'll talk about KES next week.
Yeah, that's a good idea. That was a good segment.
Yeah.